Okay.
Just dance for like 10 seconds. Just dancing. Nice dance. Hey, what's up? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of SimplyPodLogical, a Simply Logical podcast. Today, there's no girls allowed. We're broing out. We're here with the boys, the brothers. I'm being joined by my brother, Matthew.
Hello.
Matthew Mazuita, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, my pleasure.
Christine recently had her sister on, and they had girl talk, sister talk, talked about boys and periods and the things girls talk about. So I think today we're going to talk about the things boys talk about.
What's that? Sports?
Chicks.
Bikinis, motorcycles?
Yeah, bacon. I don't know. We just put out a call for questions, what people wanted to hear a brotherly perspective on. I guess it's questions about like us, couple on masculinity, things they know you like math and travel.
Great.
It's just a mixed nuts, a fun pack of nuts you buy at the grocery store.
One day, all four of us need to come on. They teased this, the girls, 2 weeks ago.
The girls tease us all the time. So I think the idea was you, me, Jen, Christine. I don't know.
That's a lot of people.
It's too exciting.
And 2 cats.
I don't know. Yeah, the cat cam. We'll put Jen and Christine under the table on the cat cam, and we'll be talking to each other.
I want to be under there. It's like a fort.
Did we make forts as a kid?
Well, yeah, we did. We used the couch cushions and we... yeah.
that really ugly brown rattan? What's the word for it? Corduroy?
Yeah.
Had like the strips in it.
I think we still have that chair.
That was the couch he almost spilled his tea.
I did spill my tea.
That was the... Oh, are you okay?
I'm okay. The tea's not... I hope the table's okay.
I'm not worried about the table. That was the couch I fell backwards off of and smashed the window and had all the glass in my hair.
Yeah, great story.
In the living room of the house I grew up, like I was born. That was the first house I had.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. You experienced houses before me.
In Orleans, yeah. I have these weird, vague memories
suburb
of that
Ottawa.
house. Yeah.
Is it weird knowing there was you had a life before I existed? Do you think about that all the time?
No, I don't think I've ever thought about that.
I think about that.
I say things like, I've known you literally your whole life.
This is
so
true.
Like I make some jokes about this, yeah. But yeah, there was a better time pre-Ben.
I Kim just fucked it all up. All right, first question from Foxes and Soxes. Who was player one?
Oh, I mean,
I can answer. You were player one.
I was the I was the oldest sibling.
Yes.
So the mysterious third Mazuita
Already.
also played the video games, but she was...
Did she? I don't really remember her playing video games.
I think in the early days when we had like our NES and we played Mario 1 and Duck Hunt, I think she partook.
Man, those were the days. My memories, I remember watching you play Super Mario Brothers 3 for hours.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we used to wake up before school and I would watch you play the game before we left. Yeah. Is that sound right?
Better time.
So we had video games were a big part of our childhood, right?
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we went NES to
and then Genesis.
Sega Genesis. We switched.
Yeah. Never had a Super Nintendo. I've still never played those classic Super Nintendo games.
I know some of my friends talk about some of the classic games from that system, and I missed out on that generation. Yeah. Then we went back to Nintendo 64.
For everything else, I think, after that.
GameCube 2.
I think I've had everything other than a Super Nintendo.
I dropped off.
Oh, no,
Nintendo.
I didn't have a Wii U.
I didn't do the Wii even. I did an Xbox 360. But that's when I was in end of high school, undergrad.
Okay. I've never owned a non-Nintendo console.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, look at you. But you played computer games.
I was more of a PC guy, yeah, especially like in high school, my adolescence.
Yeah, you played a lot of, my recollection is you playing a lot of like Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike, yeah, when it was a mod for Half-Life before it was its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the days. But yes,
Boy.
you were
We don't need to get too deep into this, yeah, but
there you go.
I win.
Next from E. Stewart, did your parents have a favorite son?
I think you were our mother's favorite.
No, really?
Yeah. No? You were the baby.
Wow.
Maybe now I'm the favorite.
Our mom once told me, she's like, no offense, Ben, but like, Matt's the smartest. Matt's the smartest kid.
That doesn't mean
that doesn't mean favorite though, does it?
I think I got it the worst from her as a kid, like...
That is true. And there is a question, but maybe we should just get into this now. Before I have intimated that you and our sister Sophie were well-behaved.
It's true.
That you didn't get into much trouble in high school. Whereas I was, I think, a pretty well-behaved kid, but because I was somewhat popular and got into a little bit of trouble, that seemed like a big deal to them. So people think I'm blaming you for not
Oh, I see.
breaking down those doors. But I will say
yes,
I
okay.
have given you credit for they held you to like an incredibly high academic standard. And by the time I was in high school and like kind of checked out and I had already been accepted into university and I was like completely blowing school off, they really didn't hold me to the same standard they held you
That
to.
happens to every multi-sibling family, though, doesn't it? And I think that's pretty standard.
I think it's pretty normal for the youngest to have it a little easier in some ways.
And we were all miraculously well-behaved kids. I don't think our parents realized how good they had it. And you were just
They
popular.
still don't know.
Yeah, they're still hard on me and have high expectations.
Why aren't none of you doctors?
They still I am literally a doctor, and I'm the wrong kind of doctor.
I mean, you're a math doctor.
Hey, my mom still tells me once in a while, hey, like it's not too late to go to med school.
I mean, I guess that's true. But, you know, like here's a lesson. If you're a parent who wants your kid to be a doctor, don't tell your kid all the time they really should be a doctor.
Yeah, use reverse psychology.
Yeah.
Don't be a doctor.
Don't be
Do anything else.
But yeah, and then I guess other stereotypes like if anyone was the favorite, I want to say it was our sister.
I feel like Sophie was. What have I done?
Sophie. Her name is Sophie.
Okay, I don't think that's a secret at this
I
point.
think
anyway.
our dad, it was like, oh, dad.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
I think our dad spoiled our sister a little
because
bit.
he grew up in a family of only boys, and there are a lot of boys in our extended family. The cousins are there's a family of like 4 boys and one of 4 boys, one of 3 boys, lots of boys, lots of Mazawita Briggs
many
boys. Yeah. But so I'd say Sophie was our father's favorite, and you were at least in the earlier days.
And you were
our
nobody's
mother's
favorite?
That's fine.
You're my favorite.
Aw.
Okay. Amber Bradley, who was more of a chick magnet at school or college?
Oh, that's another easy one. I didn't date until
Neither.
college.
It's neither of us.
Yeah. No, well, come on. Didn't you date in high school?
I like there was a girl like at school dances and parties I would like make out with, but I can't say like I ever really had an actual girlfriend in high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't kiss anybody until after first year, summer after my first year.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I had, I think, like 2 girlfriends as an undergrad.
That's okay. I feel like we both maybe said something about our upbringing that we were both a little late.
I remember when we still lived in Australia, I was in my early teens then?
Yeah.
And someone asked me out. And like I didn't know what to do with that. So I asked like our parents, like, what do I do about this? And my mom told me I wasn't allowed to date.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
Yeah. Then she also told me I wasn't allowed to date until after I got my PhD, when I was already in university. But by that point, I didn't really need her permission.
Did she actually tell you?
She did tell me that. I think she was
Holy
deadly
shit.
serious. Yeah.
That's bonkers. But okay.
Anyway,
The
the answer's Ben.
But like, okay, so I know why you thought I was more popular in high school.
Well,
than
anybody
you.
would have been more popular in high school than
You
me.
were a bit of a loner in
there
high
questions
school,
about
right?
that? Yeah.
Nah, I don't know if we need to get into that. I don't want to rehash or bring up bad memories. I don't know. Did you hated high school or?
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of indifferent. I mean, I didn't like being there, but
Yeah, but you just didn't find like a circle of people until
no.
university. I
probably,
guess.
yeah, a little bit undergrad, and then also a kind of a part-time job I had at a second cup. But then I don't think it was until I moved to Edmonton that I blossomed.
Yeah, I remember visiting you the first time when you went to Edmonton for
Yeah, that must have been
doctorate,
yeah.
and I saw you like.
I was
With
popular.
people,
and,
it was a huge, and you seemed much happier there. I'm glad you
I was part
found
of a
your
community. Yeah, great place that Edmonton.
And I feel like you think Edmonton's a better place than it is, just because.
Oh, of course. Edmonton is objectively a terrible place. Yeah. But there's such great
I'm not
people
gonna
there. There's something about the terribleness of the city that makes the people come together.
Do you think there's a relationship between how shitty a city is and how good the people there are?
I think so, yeah. I'm also famous among my friends for hating, or for loving terrible cities. And so I think it's systematic. It's not just Edmonton.
What other
getting-
terrible
yeah.
city?
A lot of terrible cities out
Don't
there.
get me canceled, okay? Moving on. Viral The Way. Hi, Ben and Matt. Could you shed some light on how your childhood upbringing and whether gender roles were enforced upon you as kids? I'm from India, where due to cultural and religious reasons, gender roles are strongly enforced as soon as you're out of the womb.
Right.
Not totally sure what to add to this, but I did want to get your thoughts on, like, I think I was into more, like, typical traditional masculine things like sports, for
yeah.
example, and you
I
weren't.
don't think I was ever into sports.
Yeah. I guess it's the only example I can think of where, like, did you...
What are the other
Did we
masculine
grow
things?
up in
Cars?
a culture? Yeah.
Yeah.
But did you ever feel, I guess, anything from our parents or our peer group or school that, like, you
No.
had to, yeah.
I think in hindsight, our mother was more of a feminist than was probably normal for that era, for like the 80s when we were growing up.
Okay.
And I'm very grateful to her for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just can't think of any, certainly nothing like you'd experience in traditional Indian cultures.
Like I had mentioned on a previous podcast, I played with Barbies as a kid.
Oh, yeah, Bare Naked
and I
Man.
feel like if our parents were like super traditional or conservative, that probably wouldn't have been okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember, it wasn't me, but one of our cousins, I remember we were at a family event once. And one of the cousins was like, a boy put a dress on. And I remember like,
Oh, was that a
a certain
scandal?
generation of people were fine with that.
Yeah, yeah.
But there was an older person in the family who thought that was a really big deal.
Okay. I sort of remember this, yeah. But
Yeah.
no, I think we had a pretty progressive,
yeah.
open-minded upbringing.
Yeah. Shout out to your family. Elena, is there like any drama in guy friend groups? Because I've been in many girlfriend groups and there was always some. Maybe you're just hanging out with young girls
Or yeah,
and maybe young people.
I'm
are
sure
just-
dramatic men exist.
I think the stereotype here is that like the way girls take out the way girls are mean to each other is by like talking behind each other's back and spreading
Okay.
rumors, whereas
Guys
men
are
are
more blunt.
less subtle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like it was normal for me to like in my guy friend groups, we would wrestle. Even in like high school.
Oh, okay.
We'd be hanging out and I feel like there's some aggression that is just released if I'm mad at my buddy for something.
Just gotta hit
and
him.
we're kind of beating the shit out of each other. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I didn't have that experience, but
No?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't experienced a lot of drama in
I
my
think
life.
it's more about whether you're hanging out with mature or immature people.
Yes,
And
find
there's
more
probably
mature people.
way more immature men than women.
Yeah, I think
think.
there's probably some statistics to back that up.
Yes. From Birch, did you feel competitive with each other with respect to grades and other accomplishments as kids, and do you still feel that way now?
Not with you. Maybe I think in high school, I think our sister was probably the most accomplished academically, and so I imagine I would have been compared to her at some point. But
I feel like
Maybe
you
she and I
were
were
the
the-
smartest. No,
I don't know that was that acknowledged when we were younger.
maybe not.
I don't think so.
Maybe for me, like I was the least smart of the three of us, probably
I don't know about that.
by some standards anyway.
You were the least academically inclined
Sure.
as a child.
That's a good way of putting it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I feel like at some point I must have felt like when you got a scholarship in undergrad, like a good one.
Yeah, like every year they would give me money for something.
Yeah, and our sister got like a full ride to McGill, I think. So I feel like when I got to like I'm applying to university and it's like I got an entrance scholarship.
Sure.
But like anyone with like 80,
Yeah, I remember
like
the
an
regime.
A- average gets an entry scholarship, right?
Yeah.
Not to complain or say like I wasn't very thankful for that, but like I'm sure that was I probably felt a little bit of something.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Hey,
not really.
would be fair.
Today, do you feel competitive today with me?
Not academically, but I'm pretty secure in my academic credentials at this point. But yeah, well, you have.
Do I
also,
get better grades than you
yeah.
today?
I'm never gonna have your YouTube followers. I have.
Are you jealous of my?
I think I have like 10 or 12
Instagram
YouTube followers, which is funny because like I don't post anything on YouTube, but people still follow me.
Oh yeah.
Don't even know what that means.
I don't even think about. This never comes into my mind.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know how else you quantify success. Money.
Money?
Yeah.
Are you jealous?
I mean, I would like to have as much money as you have. I don't know if that rises to jealousy, but I would prefer it. Yes.
Jealousy or envy?
Well, yes. Okay. Are we going to do this? Envy. Technically, envy. Yes.
Oh really? I thought envy was the worst one.
No. And you can only be jealous of things that are somehow yours. You can be jealous of your partner.
But doesn't envy imply
If
like
something you don't have, then it's envy
you
and
don't?
not jealousy.
If they can't have it, if I can't have it, they can't.
Oh, I don't think so.
Isn't that like envy?
We'll
No.
we'll put up the definition.
Okay, can we get a dictionary in here?
I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Okay, moving on. Math Pie Hannon. Ben.
Math
Ben
Pie.
blames you for not opening doors. We covered this.
Oh,
Thank you, Math Pie Hannon.
Oh, okay, bye.
Anita Dudley. What was your favorite thing about living in Australia?
Ooh, yeah.
And favorite things about living in Canada? Apologies if it's been asked before. It hasn't been asked before, I don't think.
Actually, maybe Australia is where I blossomed because I was kind of an unpopular loner here. I did better in Australia, and I was
then
also
you came back and went back to being
I went
alone?
back. Yeah, it happened.
Oh, wow.
Actually, I wonder. And also, I was a night owl in North America, in Canada, and I was a morning person in Australia. I remember I woke up early to like do homework or something.
Oh, so you should be in that hemisphere.
I think so. I think I'm just
Or
in the sort
that
of
time zone.
yeah. Let's say hemisphere. Yeah, I think I'm just naturally in the wrong hemisphere.
You felt better about the toilets flushing the other way too?
Do they
It
actually
made
do
you feel
that?
good.
I don't even remember this.
Don't most toilet. Do they even circle? Don't they just sort of like shoot down now?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Toilets used to back when I was a kid. The water spun in the toilet.
There was a Simpsons episode about this, I think.
Yeah. I
Anyway.
think that's a thing. What do you remember about Australia? I was a little
I
too
was
young to
old enough
appreciate
that
it.
I remember. And I've also been back twice since we lived there.
I went
You've
with
been
you
once.
one time
Yeah,
back to
then
visit.
I went once. I went to sort of Australia and Southeast Asia for 8 weeks towards the end of school. Yeah.
Do you
But
think your interest in traveling came from having experienced a different country at a young age?
I don't know. It can't hurt, I guess. But Australia is. I kind of give Australia a hard time as a destination. Like,
Okay.
I tell people like the reason to go to Australia is because it's the most exotic place you can go and experience basically no culture shock and have no language problems as an English speaking, Western European, North American.
Gotcha.
Right? For people like us.
I hear that. Yeah.
And like, if you want to go see kangaroos, like I totally get it. But I'm looking for a very different cultural experience. So Australia is not sort of high on my list of, exciting places. However, that said, the coolest art gallery in the world is in Australia.
Tasmania?
Yeah, in Hobart, in Tasmania. It's called Mona. It's the best place in the world.
Never been, but I've heard good things.
Super cool. Yeah.
I think one of our Discord mods is in Tasmania. I want to say, is that true?
I should talk to him or her or them about Mona.
Maybe. Yeah, and it's funny you brought up wildlife. That is my most vivid memory of what Australia was like, both in like a good and bad way. Like,
Oh yeah, like the
amazing
magpies.
Well, yeah, like it's amazing to
Knock
see like
people off bikes.
kangaroos and stuff jumping around, and like you could go to these sanctuaries and see amazing animals and birds.
Well, we'd see like kangaroos like across the street. They're just around.
Yeah, sometimes they're just like hopping down residential streets. It's kind of weird. But like then you have like the snakes and spiders.
Yeah.
And like you go on a bike ride and it's like watch out for the snake on the bike
Yeah,
path.
I don't know. Like we make a big deal out of that in North America. It's like a joke about Australia, but like I never really felt afraid of walking through a field because of something could have bitten and killed me.
I
Of course
feel like we
it's-
had to think about the fact that there was likely snakes in that field when you were walking through it.
I'm more scared in a Canadian forest of bears than I ever was in Australia of snakes or spiders.
That's interesting. The things that are big enough to see are usually not the like the big brown snakes weren't really gonna do anything to you. It's like the tiny spider with the red dot on it that if it bites you, like you're screwed.
The big spiders, like the dinner plate size spiders that look terrifying,
huntsmans, right?
They're the ones, they're not toxic, they're not poisonous or venomous, whatever, but they eat the ones that are. So they're actually good to have around.
So keep a pet.
Yeah,
big spider.
one of our neighbors had a sort of reluctant pet huntsman. Not by choice, it was just sort of in their house.
Oh, they just didn't.
They always kind of get rid of it. It always found its way back in.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Next question from Hannah. Would you take a night with Jay-Z to learn his success blueprint or $500,000?
Wait, sorry. The options are hang out with Jay-Z for one night
Yes,
or $500,000.
for him to teach you about success, for him to give you business advice,
Okay.
or $500,000. This is a meme going around.
Oh.
I have seen this.
I'm for sure taking the $500,000. I can't even believe this is...
It's funny. I only included it because I thought,
people just want to meet Beyonce.
yeah, that's the only.
Come on.
Is there anyone you would choose to hang out with for a night?
Over $500,000?
Over $500,000?
No, I don't think so.
No, right?
No.
Because even like you could take the $500,000.
Yeah. Business success or otherwise. Oh, if I had $500,000, probably people you can't get to even if with $500,000.
Really, I was going to say
good point,
most
though.
people you could probably pay less than $500,000 to have a cup of coffee with, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
If they're like a celebrity type person,
Right, yeah.
you could just pay $50 and get a cameo from them.
Sure. If you're looking for business acumen, though, these people might not. Like, I don't know that like Jeff Bezos is going to talk to you for $500,000. He's got stuff to do.
Good point. But like, what would he tell me? Be the
I
first
don't
guy to start selling books on the internet and everyone thinks you're a genius?
Sure, yeah, I think he's a genius. I'm a fan, but
Okay.
I don't think like how much business insight are you going to extract from somebody in one night? Take the money and invest it. You'll do better. Use that to start your business.
Yeah.
What a silly question.
Well said. Yeah, come on, Hannah. Thank you for the question. From Simply Roxy's Nails. How was being the first to leave home like? I just moved into my own place for college, and I'm feeling conflicted between a sense of freedom and loneliness.
Oh,
Nice to see you again, Matt.
oh, thank you. So the Sophie, we've named her. Sophie was the first to leave home because she went to McGill.
And you went
and
to
then our parents left home and moved
and
back
then
to
we
Australia.
were lonely.
And then we were lonely. We lived together until I left. So I was the last to leave home, and you never left home. But I understand. Well, to sort of take the question, the spirit of the question, I really had the first maybe 6 months. Like moving to Edmonton was a nightmare. Like the first night and then the first few weeks was really tough.
Sure. Yeah.
Even though I did know somebody there from Ottawa who moved there before I did.
And that helps, right?
Yeah, that helped a ton. But
you blossomed into a social.
It took like less than a year for me to really to do very well there socially and academically and whatever else.
Maybe that's a good thing to keep in mind. Like it's hard, but I regret not leaving Ottawa.
Yeah.
I think at some point in my university career, I was going to. When I still thought I was going to do my doctorate, I had applied and gotten into U of A.
Yeah, in Edmo.
In Edmonton as well. I was partly motivated by the fact you were there, but also like I felt ready to leave. And then I met a cool girl and I stopped liking academia so much. And I'm like, maybe I am happy here.
Yeah. I do want to.
You can't just escape your problems, I guess is the point too, right?
Right.
Sorry, what do you want to add?
I want to give Roxy some advice here. That's the advice I was given. So when I left Edmonton, I was really sad about that. And I came back to Ontario for some postdocs. And then I would go back all the time, like every few months. And one of my friends there told me it takes 2 years to kind of become accustomed to get to know a place and learn to love it. So just give it some time. I'm sure it's tough, but you'll get there. And it'll be a positive growth experience for you, I promise.
It'll build character.
That's my dad advice.
Good luck, Roxy. From Lara Steentje. Any advice on picking what you want to do in college, university? I picked last year. I'm interested in my major, but I know I won't like the job I'm supposed to do with it.
Oh, there's a lot in this question.
Yeah.
First of all, you're not supposed to do anything. Even if you're in like a very vocational degree, like medicine.
Sure.
You don't have to, do any kind of traditional medicine type career with that.
You don't have to, but like if you're looking at it in a very practical way, what value does that degree give you if not continuing in that pursuit?
I don't know. I'm maybe I'm some like ivory tower weirdo, but I think like education is its own reward.
Okay.
If you can afford to go to university and you can make that work, I'd encourage everybody to do so if you're interested. And
do you remember how you picked? Like, so you did you started and changed majors.
I was always wanted to be in tech. And then at the last minute, I decided against that for I don't even really remember what reason. And then I started university in biochemistry. And I hated that so much in the first year.
What did you hate about it?
I hated the lab work specifically.
Okay.
Because they'd give you these lab manuals in your chemistry labs. And like the labs start in the first week. So you're doing these experiments and you're just following the recipe in the lab manual. You haven't learned the theory behind this yet. So you have no idea what you're doing.
So it's very sort of mechanistic. There's nothing.
There's no understanding,
creative thought to it. Okay.
And I also just wasn't a very careful lab person.
Okay.
And yes, but I hated it so much. I couldn't do another year of it.
Okay.
So I switched into the only department within the Faculty of Science that had no mandatory lab work, and that was math.
Like pure mathematics.
And I had to do that because if I wanted to switch faculties, I had to reapply to the university, and it was too late that year. So I went into math almost by accident. So anyway, I tell people I think at least half the people I know switched majors during their undergraduate careers. So
I know very few people who ended up in careers that match what they thought they were doing in first year university.
Oh yeah. I know very few people who even did the same thing after first year. And even then, you get whatever degree you want, you can still do literally. You have your whole life ahead of you. You can do anything.
Just part of me wants to be like pragmatic and strategic about advice. Like there are degrees that do open up a more breadth of opportunities and doors and career paths. And that was partly what motivated my decision to be interested in law. Because I thought like I did my undergrad in like a pre-law type crim legal studies type stuff. And I thought I would go to law school. And part of my motivation to go to law school was I didn't have to be a litigating lawyer. It could open doors to other sort of careers as well, right? Whereas like in sociology, like when I ended up in sociology, I felt like I ended my studies in sociology not feeling like I had like
Sure.
a
Yeah.
ton of opportunities or different choices to make too.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I was much less pragmatic, but my advice, maybe somewhat idealistic and maybe even naive, is do what you love. If you have the luxury of being able to take the time and pay the tuition, and then figure out your career later.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
From Starship Vega, what advice do you have for future math majors, if you have any specifically?
I don't know that I have any math specific advice. I wasn't expecting math questions today.
Apparently, that's a bro thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to?
It's a you thing. We can talk about math if you want.
I don't have any math specific advice anyway. I have sort of undergrad specific advice. Is like go to your professor's office hours, and especially in starting in second year, especially when you're actually specializing a little bit. Yeah, talk to them. Just become known to them. And just you'll learn what the field is about, and then you'll eventually need somebody to write you letters probably when you're applying for work or grad school.
Yeah.
And then if you're showing up in your last semester of your third or fourth year, and they don't know you from Adam or Eve or whoever else, then they have nothing to say about you. So yeah, just become known to the faculty.
That is interesting. Like when I was briefly a TA, when I was in the MA program, the few people who showed up to office hours, I felt so inclined to actually want to help them.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And it put a face to that name. It's hard not to let that bias how you treat them as a student,
yeah.
I would say. Although I will say there's at least one time where someone was coming to my office hours and they basically were like asking all the questions as if like, how do I put this? It was almost as if like they weren't doing the work. It's just like, oh, I'll just ask the TA all the questions about what I need to answer the stuff.
Yeah.
And like TAs can detect that sort of bullshit too.
Sure, yeah.
You taught quite a bit.
Yeah, I was an
right?
instructor. I was like, I'm technically not a professor, but I was the instructor for many courses. And I had to plan a course, like a second graduate course in measure theory, whatever that is. Yeah, so I taught a whole bunch, yeah.
Okay.
But I had the same experience. I remember I worked at sort of a drop-in math help center, and people would come and ask you, like, just straight up, like, this is the assignment question, what is it? And so many of the TAs would just give them the answer, straight up tell them the answer. It made me so angry.
Well, yeah, but don't you feel like it's natural as a TA, I think, to feel like you're trying to help that person figure it out. But there's a difference between trying to help them learn themselves and just giving them the answer.
Oh yeah, people would come and ask questions and not even know what the terms in the question meant. It was like, what are you doing? You're wasting both of our times. Like, you don't even know what the question is asking. You just want me to give you straight up the whole answer. I'm not going to get on a diatribe here.
No, we can. Did you like teaching?
I love teaching. That's kind of the only part of academia I miss, actually. Research is tough, but teaching is great.
Politics of faculties and terrible hours.
I was only exposed to a little bit of that, but yeah, research is just so it's an emotional roller coaster, and you're down a lot more than you're up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can't love anything other than your research, right?
Yeah, you're not allowed.
You're not. Could you guys rank Taylor Swift albums?
This is a real left turn, this question.
You were talking about it last time, but it got cut short.
Oh, yeah.
Cristine
I remember this.
cut off our Taylor Swift
Yeah, that's right. Okay, wow. Okay, well, I have a lot to say about this, too.
Do we have to rank all? I don't think I could.
I don't even think I probably can't even list all the Taylor Swift albums.
Do you have a favorite?
I think 1989 is my favorite. It's probably the only one I would sit down and listen to the whole way through, especially the deluxe version.
I think that's the right answer.
Thank you.
And there are I don't know how you explain it, but there are like perfect pop songs, like perfect pop ballads, and I think that album is the best representation of that. Like Blank Space.
Yep.
Is just that's a pop masterpiece.
Sure,
frankly,
it's great. Style is my favorite Taylor Swift song. Same album.
Same album. Yeah.
I don't love the national like the last two albums.
You're not into
Folklore and Evermore. Don't love that sound for her. I like the big pop jams.
Okay.
I like Cruel Summer off of Lover. I like what's the one off Reputation?
As a more mature artist, though, I guess like you're not doing like Shake It Off as like a 35-year-old woman.
Never
right?
like Shake It Off, but why not? It's fine.
I mean, you could.
I don't know how old she is. Is she not 35?
I appreciate the maturity of her artistry with these two most recent albums.
I like she's going in a different direction. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good for her. It doesn't work for me, but I'm glad she's trying it. Same thing with Lorde. I don't like the new Lorde record, but good for her for doing something different.
Oh, I like the new Stoned at the Nail Salon is a bop.
Okay, yeah.
No, doesn't do it for you.
Not for me.
Isn't it this Jack Antonoff character?
Because everywhere.
Yeah, I feel his name's coming up on a lot of these records that are getting a lot of attention.
People are becoming more and more aware of, I think, how large a hand the producer has in these albums.
Mm.
Yeah, so
not to take credit away from Lord or Taylor.
No, of course not. Yeah, but
Just saying that for the Swifties.
oh,
out there.
yes, okay.
I don't think we can really rank them otherwise. I mean, the early country-ish ones are at the bottom of the list for me, I think.
Maybe the very early ones, but All Too Well that's from Red, but that's still like a country song. Red was like the half country album. There's some bangers.
I'm not saying all country music's bad.
Whoa, hey now. I'm almost always listening to country music in the car.
Actually, you know what? Her album before she took the sort of folky turn was probably her worst.
Before the folky.
The one that had the single
Lover.
with
Lover. The one Cruel Summer's on that. So good.
Was it Lover? What's the one where the single
Pretty sure
was
it's
with the guy from
Fun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's not a.
That's probably
not
her
best
worst.
song.
That might be her worst song, actually.
There's some bad songs. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe her worst single.
She shouldn't re-record that one.
Yeah. Well,
You don't
she
need the
should
masters
for
back on
legal
that.
reasons. But anyway.
All right.
We could talk about this forever.
Well, I mean, let's not. From Daniel, what's the story behind the hardest each of you has ever hit the other? And did you get caught? If so, do you recall your parents' reaction and the punishment? Any memories of striking me?
I don't think so. I have this weird memory of I think we were in a supermarket.
Me hitting you?
This is a Sophie story.
Okay.
When she was running down the aisle of some public space, like a supermarket, and I just stuck my arm out right in front of her. It was incredibly malicious. Just ran right into it and fell over. Yeah.
How did she feel about that?
Yeah, well, she cried a lot as a child. She was very sensitive, So she didn't care for it. I don't remember really. We didn't get into physical fights really.
We might have wrestled a little bit as very young.
Yeah, maybe, but
Well, you were 4 years older, so that wouldn't have been a
have
fair
destroyed
fight.
you.
You weren't the older brother who was smacking me around.
Right.
I'll say that. I do remember we were shoveling the driveway once.
Okay.
And I think I was too young to really hurt you.
Oh,
but I
but you
remember
tried?
you were sort of had your back turned to me and you were shoveling too. And I just said I just took the shovel and I'm going to hit this guy. And I just hit you in the back of the head.
Oh, yeah.
And you fell over and you're like, what was that? And I'm like, I think I pretended it was an accident, but there's no way that could have been an accident.
Yeah,
And I remember I think you were more confused than angry.
Yeah.
I probably wasn't. I must have been 10 years old, so I guess it
you
wasn't
could
that hard.
Maybe still kill somebody at 10. I don't remember this at all, but it might have been the brain damage.
Yeah. You got a concussion.
Great story.
Thanks, Daniel. From Posh Bonuk. What is one thing you don't like about each other?
Oh.
Christine had the positive, tell me how much
yeah,
you
yeah.
love me, sister. No. What's your least favorite
This is
thing
great.
about
I have
me?
an answer for this.
Oh, good.
I
You didn't have to think about it at all.
I wish for your sake that you were more adventurous.
My answer is about you being too adventurous and just
you serious?
fetishizing different things. Yeah.
Is that what you were going to...
That is totally what I was going to say.
Funny.
This is the biggest difference between us.
I think so,
We
yeah.
don't have to put a super negative spin on
I think
this.
otherwise we see eye to eye on pretty much everything, right?
Yeah, I'm the kind of guy where if I find a restaurant I like,
Yeah.
I could eat there every day of the week. And when we want to go out to dinner together, you're like, what's the weirdest sounding restaurant I can find that I've never tried before?
Yeah.
That might be terrible, but it might be amazing,
Well,
right?
this literally happened tonight. We're going to have dinner after this because we're people and we eat food.
Yes,
And
sometimes.
and then you wanted to get food from your favorite restaurant, a very
Sure.
highly regarded Ottawa restaurant. And I think I literally told you it wasn't weird enough.
Wasn't weird enough. And I feel like this isn't food's just one example of this. Even
Yeah.
listening to music or
Yep.
something, it sometimes annoys me that you just seem to look for the weird. Do you actually like it, or do you just like that it is
So
different?
that's fair, and it's hard to tell. Sometimes it takes me a really long time to figure out if I like something because it's good, or even because I enjoy it. I don't want to say that there's objectively good or bad art.
Sure.
But it's hard for me to tell sometimes if I actually enjoy something or if I enjoy the novelty of it.
And I get that, and I appreciate that you won't discover new things you like unless you are willing to try things you don't know you like. Yeah, there's a lot of comfort in just watching
Yeah.
your same favorite movie over and over again. You can swing too far in either direction.
Sure, there's a happy medium somewhere in between us. I think we're
Yes.
probably both a little bit too extreme on
There you
this
go.
one.
There was a real answer.
What that was a reasonably positive way to answer.
It's a pretty
that.
positive spin
Yeah,
about
Go us.
from Daria. Was that a cartoon?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna
This
picture
may not be a
the
reference to the
cartoon
cartoon.
character asking. People are named Daria?
I
Have
think
you ever
so.
met someone named Daria?
I think I have actually, although she may have been named after the cartoon.
This is probably her asking the question.
I assume so. Yes.
Just curious, do you think it's worth getting a PhD or anything past a master's degree? I've just graduated and I'm trying to decide whether to continue my education or just work. Lots of love to you, Catface.
Okay. I don't know if this actually happened, but I have this memory of, somewhat recently talking you out of getting a PhD, because at the time I think I was just so down on academia.
It probably didn't help that around the time. So I did not, a DNF, did not finish, I guess. Is that what you say?
No, you were, I don't know. What is
I
that?
don't know. I didn't finish grad school.
I thought this was a secret.
I've talked about it at least once, but
You were so close.
all I had to do was hand in a thesis I had mostly written, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
Well, hey, I mean,
And
it
I
worked
just
out.
didn't believe, and that's kind of the thing, because I'd already gotten a career, or I'd gotten a job. The nail polish stuff wasn't even happening yet, but like the beginnings of it was happening in a way where like it became a business quick enough that,
Right.
like, because I was thinking of going back into school to do.
Just to finish it?
No, I had gone down like a really theoretical path, and I started to feel like it didn't really have any meaningful value. It was just like a very masturbatory,
Yeah.
ivory tower. I could talk about this with like someone at a sociology conference, but like no one in the real world would care, or it wouldn't have any relevance. So I was thinking about going back to do a more quantitative stream of criminology. But then when other things became successful and big in my life, it just didn't really fit anymore.
Okay.
I will say there was a point at which I think we talked about it, and I remember reading articles about like The Economist or something had some article at one point I remember seeing
With me in
about
it?
your return of it with you.
I was quoted in a Maclean's article about the value of PhDs.
Really?
Yeah, if you Google me, you'll find it.
Okay, Google that. But sorry, what I was going to say is that there was an article about like the return on investment
Oh, you'll never get
of
that
paying
back.
for a PhD, and most of the time, it wasn't worth it if you're looking purely financial.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? And there's also the opportunity cost.
That's what.
Yeah.
So not only is if you're doing a PhD, you're probably not paying tuition,
Yes.
but
But you're also not making.
yeah, you're not making money for those years. And it's not just you're not making money those years. You're also not advancing within whatever career you do afterwards for those years. So that's the opportunity cost, which is really significant.
I feel like we're being too pessimistic though. Like if someone is in a field they love,
Oh yeah.
and you're in love with academia, like go for it. I guess
Yeah.
just I found a lot of the people I met in grad school were people who just didn't know what else to do
That's
with
a
their life.
terrible reason. So yeah, the
Yeah.
advice I've always given when people ask me this question is the reason to do a PhD is not because you think you'll get some reward afterwards, because you likely won't. The reason to do a PhD is you can't believe someone is willing to pay you whatever your research assistantship is, whatever amount of money, just to pursue your intellectual curiosities. Like I still can't
Yeah.
believe that's even an option. Like to someone paid me to go get a math PhD is amazing.
Yeah.
So if you're asking this question, I'm worried that a PhD may not be for you. I feel like
Interesting.
you would know if you're right for a PhD.
All right.
Now I worry that I'm
think
too
about
negative, but yeah.
Maybe we both are. Next one from Deanna. Tips to date while in grad school. I'm a 31-year-old female heading abroad to do my PhD, and the idea of dating while getting my degree seems pretty bleak.
Yeah.
Feels like everyone's already married or coupled up. What was your experience similar?
Wow, there's two questions here. So I mean, I went straight through the academic track. So I started my PhD when I was in my early mid-20s. I think it was 24.
Were you that young starting your doctorate?
I don't think that's
that
especially
normal?
young. Yeah, because you finish your undergrad, you're around 22. You do a 2-year master's, and then you do that's pretty
Like a
normal.
lot of people
actually, yeah.
probably take an extra year here or there.
I guess
no?
I skipped a grade and then I finished my master's a little bit early. So I might have been a little bit. I was 23, I guess, when I started.
Did you skip a grade?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
What you talked about this Australia grade skipping business in a couple
Yeah,
podcasts
I didn't
ago.
skip the grade.
No, so when we moved to Australia, we all
Yeah.
skipped ahead half a year.
And then when we came back,
I skipped ahead
You
another
skipped
half
ahead?
year. Yeah, I didn't do grade 9.
that never clicked for me.
Yeah, it was horrible. That's why I was unpopular in high school.
Oh, because you were younger than everyone.
And I hit puberty late, and I was a little runt, and so I was like a little 13-year-old runt in grade 10, and I didn't know anybody. Grade 9 is really important because people are forming
Yeah.
their social circles.
Oh, that really screwed you.
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
Oh, it all Okay.
Anyway, but let's answer the question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dating in grad
dating
school.
during a PhD is tough no matter what, and especially if you're already older. I imagine that this woman must have spent a few years outside of academia if she's only starting at 31.
Yes.
So coming back into that environment is going to be tough anyway. And then yeah, it's tough dating in your 30s.
Dating in
people
general
are coupled up.
is
Dating is
tough,
terrible in the first place. Yeah, but
You're dating? What's that like?
yeah. I mean, like that in particular is pretty good, but just like the idea of like having to go date is the worst. Yeah.
I'm glad I missed the like online dating swipe right.
Well, I mean,
thing.
I met my current girlfriend on Hinge, I think. Yeah, Hinge.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was like the first date I went on Hinge, so it worked out real well for me.
Look,
So I recommend
you're
online dating.
you're a good ad for them.
Yeah, that's right. They should pay me for this.
And I'll say I met Christine in grad school. So dating in grad school
It can
kind of
work
worked out nicely
Yeah.
for me. And I felt that was much, you know what, meeting people in grad school, when you're in like a lecture hall of like 200 people,
Oh, you don't know anybody.
no one's talking
Wait,
to each
your
other.
grad courses had 200 people in them?
It's probably an exaggeration, but I would be in lecture halls for like, at least in the first, second, even some third year courses were still pretty big for my program.
Weird. Some of my grad courses were literally 3 people.
Where exactly for in grad school, like you'll be in a room with like 10 other people maybe, and you'll realize who you do and don't like in that room.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, hey, maybe you'll just meet the love of your life sitting across from you in a,
Yeah. But we have no actual advice, I think, right?
no.
Good luck. It's
Yeah,
tough. It's going to be tough.
out there. From Cat W, what do you think you'd both be doing if you weren't in the jobs you currently are? Did you have a childhood dream job that fell to the wayside?
Yeah, my childhood dream job was to be a writer.
Really?
Like and
fiction?
a fiction, yeah.
Okay.
And I guess I was good at writing fiction.
Well, you were
and,
good at everything.
Well,
Genius
yeah, okay.
boy child.
Well, my teachers in primary school kept accusing me of having my parents write my stuff for me.
Oh,
'Cause
really?
I guess I was writing so far ahead of the
Is
rest.
that true?
It's certainly not. But that really beat my interest in writing out of me as a primary school student. It was really sad.
That's pretty fucked up, actually.
Yeah, it's a shame. And but then also like it's not I don't know. And then I got interested in Egyptology for a while. But to actually answer this question, knowing what I know now, I'd maybe do like an accounting degree or business or something because I don't know, like pragmatically. I don't regret about the route that I took, you know. But like I don't know. I could have seen myself as an accountant, not like a Ben Affleck accountant, like
Ben Affleck.
What?
Did he have a movie?
He has a
about
movie called The Accountant, and he plays an accountant who's also like a
alcoholic
hitman
or-
or something. Or
Oh,
no, it's like
okay.
an action movie. It's
Oh,
ridiculous.
he kills people.
Yeah,
He's an accountant. Oh, that's
not
interesting.
that kind of accountant.
My accountant kills people. I think that's pretty normal.
Oh, okay.
Like for me,
Is that
like
just
I tell him.
is that just part of modern accountancy?
Yeah, you'll learn that once you go to accounting school.
Oh, okay, yeah. When you're like very wealthy, you can have your accountant murder people for you.
Yeah, that's who you call.
Okay.
You could be the accountant everyone assumes I am.
This has got to be slander.
I'll say I thought I wanted to be a jazz drummer.
Oh, yeah.
I thought a lot about being a jazz drummer. I had a good friend who pursued being a musician as like a real career after high school. And sometimes I wonder about it, but the pragmatic side of me is like, I don't regret the decision.
Yeah.
I'm just a little sad that I'm not living out my life in like a bar in Montreal gigging as a drummer sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that sounds romantic, but that's got to be
But
a
it would
tough
be
life.
terrible.
Yeah.
I think so.
And the grass is always greener.
Yeah, I'm happy. Hey Matt and Ben, I live in the Netherlands, and right now we have a liberal government just like Canada right now. Next to clogs, weed, legal gay marriage, and Nikki tutorials, we are famous for tax evasion. Is it actually beneficial for a country to have such constructions in place? For example, employment opportunities and rates, or does only the 1% and large multinationals benefit from this? I'm a 28-year-old male holo enthusiast.
Wow, this is another non-brotherly question, but I think we both have perspectives on this.
I mean, I'm not an accountant. You're not an accountant. We don't kill people. We're not economists either. I guess my knowledge of this is limited, but like you'll hear things like Apple shelters a bunch of their money allegedly in Ireland because it is a tax haven. They are doing that. Ireland does that because there is some benefit of having those corporations' money.
Yeah, you want the tax dollars, even if you have to
Yes.
offer like very low tax rates, then you get them as opposed to America or Canada or wherever else. So there's certainly a benefit to the country.
From a tax revenue perspective,
Yeah.
and to the degree your government is spending taxes on social programs,
Yeah, you want that revenue.
you do want that revenue. But I guess it leads to this arms race. Like, these countries don't usually stay the same a long time, because a new government will come in that actually is like, hey, we should be charging these corporations a reasonable tax rate. And the company's like, I'm not here because I care about Irish people.
Yeah,
I was here for that sweet, sweet low tax rate.
Yeah.
And then they'll just go somewhere else with a low tax rate.
Yep, in game theory terms, we call this a race to the bottom because everybody's incentivized to offer lower and lower tax rates just to get those companies. And then eventually we'll be at basically nothing. And then that's bad for everybody. So this is the problem, is this is bad for like the world that this happens, but it's good for the countries that are offering it.
That's why a solution to this, there needs to be like sort of a multinational solution.
And there's talk of this now, right? Like I think like the G6 or the G8, one of the Gs was talking about minimum corporate tax rates, like 10 or 15%.
Yeah. And I think just increasingly we're seeing examples of tax codes being updated to reflect where purchases are happening rather than where companies are legally registered.
It's a whole quagmire in our interconnected
It's
world.
a really tough thing. It's making filing taxes sometimes much more complicated. And we've experienced that in a few ways, actually, even on the YouTube side, but also physical products. But I think that's going to be the new normal to try to
I hope so.
figure that out.
Great question.
Yeah. From Chicken Nuggets, the statistics math behind Dream's Minecraft speedrun controversy. Christine and I said we were going to have Matt.
Oh, did you?
I think we joked that we should have a real mathematician talking about it.
Yeah, okay.
So basically, in a nutshell, there was a guy who cheated at Minecraft. He had mods installed in his game that gave him a better probability of getting good items that let him beat the game faster.
Yep.
He lied about this. He hired a mathematician to try to prove that he didn't cheat. And I think you looked up that report too, right?
Yeah, he hired someone to write a paper. I found the paper. I read the paper.
Did you?
I saw this on Dig or Reddit or something. It's a miracle because I haven't played Minecraft in years, so it's a miracle that I am even aware of this. But I looked at that paper, and that paper was full of, well, it was, I think, technically wrong in a few points, but more so than that, it was just padded with a whole bunch of references and like fancy long words that were completely irrelevant to make it look more important and authoritative than it really was.
So it's interesting to hear that context, because when I found the paper too.
Yeah.
I couldn't make sense of almost all of it.
Oh yeah, but it's full of a bunch of irrelevant stuff. So don't feel bad.
So
you're more of a statistician than I am. You work for StatsCan.
I do. It's true. I was talking about this with Christine the other day. It's shocking how little we had to know about statistics to get our job, because
Excel does it.
Excel does it for you. Well, we have methodologists we work with too, like where if I actually have math questions, but we did have to do a math test. Did I ever tell you that? There was like a little math test component of getting hired.
How was it? Fun?
It was mostly like logic more than anything.
Yeah.
But I guess I should just tell people I'm a statistician.
Yeah.
Sarah, do you have any advice for someone in their early 20s trying to learn how to navigate the world in post-college?
Oof.
I feel like I should know stuff about taxes or something.
Oh, that's the question.
Should you file your own taxes?
I still feel like I'm trying to figure out how to live life post university.
You never figure it out.
No, like it's
Just get better at faking it.
yeah, exactly. And people should definitely know more about personal finances. That's a tough one. We just don't teach that.
Yeah, I totally hear you. The fact that like I've had to teach myself so much about RSPs and TFSAs and how to save and things like that, like, put a little bit of money away if you can afford to, a little bit at a time somewhere. You won't touch it. And it's amazing. Like, you just have to sort of see it for yourself. Like, someone could like describe a scenario for you that will maybe make it click, where like if you put $20 away somewhere, even if it's getting like a pretty small interest rate, like 10, 20 years later,
decades,
that will be like a stupid amount of money.
Yeah.
So I feel like you just need to kind of have that in your head. And doing your own taxes, like, for most people, you can do them yourself, probably through the use of
there's free services
or almost free programs. Yeah. Good luck. What's in a name 541? If you could take a trip to any one of the wonders of the world, where would it be and why?
What are the wonders of the world these days?
The pyramids, Machu Picchu, things like that.
Yeah.
Do you care about things like that when you're traveling?
Yeah, more than I want to admit, actually.
You can. Why? That's not weird enough? It's too pedestrian to go to the wonders of the world.
Well, Machu Picchu's I really enjoyed Machu Picchu, and the pyramids. But there's like, I always feel compelled to do kind of the obvious touristy things in places where I go.
Yeah.
And it's usually what I enjoy the least. I just like wandering around the streets the most. Like maybe I went to Japan a few years ago and I went to Kyoto and there's a whole bunch of temples. And I made sure to see a whole bunch of the temples. The temples were my least favorite part of that whole trip.
Okay.
But I planned my whole days around the temples. So
What was your favorite part of that trip?
probably just like, I don't know, hanging around in the little bars in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Any wonders of the world or
what
any
are
big
the
like
wonders
is
of
there
the
a
world?
landmark or place you haven't been to you want to go to?
yeah, I guess the Taj Mahal.
Okay.
I really want to go to India. And I really want to go see the Taj Mahal, even though I know I'm not going to enjoy it as much as probably anything else I do. It's probably my least favorite part of India. You got to go really far out of your way to see it.
Right.
But that's my answer, Taj Mahal. What about you? What do you want to do?
I don't know.
Go see something, please.
I want to go to the Four Seasons in Bali. All right, last question for me, Matt. Where has Matt traveled that Ben should go on vacation?
Okay. Christine has never been to Europe.
True. Christine has never been across an ocean.
Right. You've sort of been to Europe because we went to Italy
As a family, yeah.
as a family in high school-ish, teenagers. We were teenagers.
Yeah, teenager.
Yeah. So I really think you should take Christine to Europe. I know you want to
Okay.
go to Greece.
I thought Santorini.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to say that. I thought, yeah, a nice trip in Santorini would have been good at some point.
I remember I suggested once that
That is very touristy, though.
I think Spain has something for everybody. It's an incredibly diverse country. It's very easy to travel around.
Okay.
Even if people don't speak English there, which is often the case. I really highly recommend Spain. Maybe
Spain,
yeah,
okay.
Barcelona. Take
I wouldn't
take
have
Christine
guessed
to
that.
Barcelona.
Well, she's a picky eater. She gonna
Oh yeah, she'll be fine.
Spanish food would be good.
Yeah.
Like what's Spanish food? Paella.
Tapas. Yeah, paella. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to plan this around Christine wanting to eat salads.
Oh, okay.
And,
Where has the best salads? Yeah. Does
Where's
she
the-
like
where-
Lebanese salads?
She likes cats, salads, and nail polish.
Okay.
Where can we go on vacation, Matt?
Yeah, great. Wow, I don't know about the nail polish angle, but
There's an island in
they really
Greece that
like
had
cats
cats.
in the Middle East.
Oh,
And
yeah?
there's a lot of like tabbouleh, fattoush salads in that region. I feel like she'd like Turkish food. Does she have Turkish food?
You know what? When I went to Turkey, I've been to Turkey.
Yeah, they
so
love cats in Turkey.
I've been to Europe again, technically.
Oh yeah.
I was least impressed by Turkish food.
Oh no.
Did you like the
where
food
are you
in
eating?
Turkey?
I was also a little bit disappointed by the food in Turkey, only because of what I'd heard.
Yeah.
But I had a wonderful time in Turkey. But the food, yeah, I agree, was not.
I
my
like
favorite.
Turkey, but that was underwhelming. I guess I have like shawarma in Ottawa.
Yes.
And I had a idea in my mind of like North American, Middle Eastern food.
Yeah.
It wasn't what I experienced there. Spain, though, I wouldn't have guessed that. I kind of want to take her to Australia, honestly, but that flight is
So
just
far, and yeah, and if she doesn't want to see those kangaroos, then what's the point?
I think she wants to
No
see
offense
the
to the
kangaroos.
Australians.
What's the point?
She's not gonna like Mona.
Well, Google, yeah, the art
Yeah.
gallery.
Is she into that?
Is there nail art there?
There might be. There was one of the pieces of art, quote unquote, is a tattoo on a guy's back. He's not there all the time, but he's there a lot of the time.
Oh, it's not a picture. It's like just
No,
the
it's an
guy.
actual. There's a guy stands there.
He's alive, or
Yeah, he's a live human being with a tattoo on his back, and that's the art. It's amazing. So I feel like you could probably pitch them some nail art. Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
That place is run by a mathematician who I think makes like most of the curatorial decisions himself. So just call up David Walsh and see if he wants Christine's nail art and Mona.
Shout out, David.
Mona,
Wall.
get in touch.
Well, I'll ask Christine. I mean, we were supposed to have her on today as a guest, but we ran out of time.
Sorry, Christine.
Christine couldn't join us today. She's working on the next Holo Taco collection dropping this weekend. I think I was supposed to say that. But thank you for joining us, Matt.
Oh, my pleasure.
I'm
Anytime.
going to wrap this up because we ordered some weird food
It's
to
not-
make you happy. Not weird enough?
No, not even close.
Oh, we didn't get weird enough. Okay. Well, we're going to eat some food now because we're
Yep.
human beings that eat food. I hope you have a good Taco Tuesday. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, you're not allowed to eat tacos if it's not Tuesday. Remember that. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.